Hey, Steve Basic Architect. I'm out here at our Riverside project for the Build Show Network. Yeah, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about what's the topic for today. I'm not even going to give you the 10 seconds. We're going to talk about water management at the exterior of our windows. And you saw some of my window videos. I've done a bunch where we talked about setting sill pans, slope sill pans, pushing that water. But I've never really done a video to show how does all of that integrate into the final product. So guess what we're going to talk about today? That final product. So we're right over here. We're at one of our finished windows. So you can see the windows installed. We have our jam liners here. Those are the pieces that basically go back and finish off the window. And then we have our sill piece here. Notice that the sill piece is down about a little over 1/8 of an inch here. And these are our weep holes. If I can pop that off, you can see those are our integral weeps that are made by the window manufacturer. Any water that gets into that system has the ability to drain out, and they have these little hoods that just simply pop in there to finish that off. But you want to pay close attention to the sills placement relative to where those weeps are, because you don't want to be close where you're starting to dam water or hold water because you neglected to properly displace that windowsill. Notice that the windowsill has a slight slope to it. It's probably on the order of about 5 degrees, but it's basically down and out. It's our standard for any water management tool. And then if water gets in there, I can actually pop this off. So this is the Resista siding that we're using, and you can see we have our furring channels here. These are the Resista furring strips, and any water that does get into that system, you can see below here, because we're sitting up on those blocks, you can see we have a full drainage space there. And that drainage space is any water that gets into our system goes down to that sill pan. And if you haven't seen the videos previously where I talk about prepping the windowsill and all of those, I did a whole series of them. Go check those out. But basically it's made to kick that water out. Well, when it kicks that water out, it's kicking it out into this drainage space. And that drainage space is then getting drained out at the bottom. We have a little piece of hemmed metal there, so the water will come down here and then basically get kicked out and just fall to the ground. But there's not a whole lot of water happening in there. But you can see how all of these pieces, from the window, the slope sill, our sill pan inside there, and our furring strips, how they all come together to play a major role in ensuring that we're getting rid of that water. So let's put the house back together here. Let's head back to the studio. We'll break out a detail here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. I'll see you back at the studio. Hey, everybody. Yeah, we're touching on one of my favorite topics. Yeah, windowsills, water management. Who doesn't like all the little components that get put together there to make for a successful window install? Anyways, I got Big Red. I have details here at 6 inches plus. Yeah, that's half full size. Very large stuff. Get our point across here. We'll dissect that detail here with the help of Big Red, and hopefully we come out on the end just a wee bit smarter. So let's get after it. All right, everybody. So what do you think? Nice big detail at 6 inches plus here in scale. Give you a little orientation. This is the top of our wall there. This was a 2x8 wall, remember? So here's our 2x8 subsill, or I'll call it rough sill. And then the extended sill up here, which I call the rip sill. And the reason I call that the rip sill is because its dimension changes depending on the thickness of the wall and the thickness of the sheathing used, right? In this case here, we have zip R9 happening here. There's our inch and a half of polyiso. And then this is 7/16 OSB. So it's 1 inch and 15/16 there, plus the 7 1/4 gets us that 9 3/16. So basically you take a 2x10 and there just rip a 1/4 of an inch off of it. But the beauty of that, as you can see, is it stops our R9, but it gives us this full 1.5 inches, and it gives us a full face here that we can nail things into, tape things to, seal things to, and we don't have that 1.5 inch face of foam here where we pretty much can't do anything, or we have just 7/16 to attach, the ends of our furring strips or sill, whatever the case is. But as far as the water management, we have the rip sill there. We have this piece here, and that's nothing but a little block, and that little block we call the back dam. Right? And just as its name suggests, what it's avoiding is if any water comes down through the window system, down the jacks, and gets here, it can't go inward because that basically dams it, right? It stops it. And then in front of that, we have our sloped piece of lap siding. And remember, what's our two favorite words about water management? Down and out, right? So down and out, right? You have to subscribe to the down and out theory in all water management. Remember, it's not called water stop. It's not called water barrier. It's called water management. Right? It's that simple. Management. What does that mean? Give it a place to go. Right? Down and out. I'm giving it a place to go. Down and out. So we have our back dam. Obviously, the back dam wants to have a little leading edge there, a little higher than our lap siding. And that would go continuously all the way across the window rough opening. And then you can see we have a dashed line here. In this case, we use zip stretch tape. And you saw that in the video out at the job site, where basically that lines that whole pan. So it starts at the top of our back dam, which water should not get to. And it goes down the face of our back dam, down the sloping face of our lap siding, turns the corner, goes over our rip sill, and then connects for continuity purposes to our zip, better known as the WRB, or weather resistive barrier. All right? So now we're made a connection. That piece of stretch tape is nothing more than an extension of our WRB, and it brings it up. Now we insert the window, basically suspend it over this drain pan, right that here, right? Because that's basically what it is. That's a pan flashing, that's a back dam. It's making a little pan, but it's a drainable pan because we have down and out, because we're managing. We're giving it a place to go. And then we insert the window. Notice that the window is in front of the back dam. You don't want to set it up on top here or have that too close of a proximity. You want to have a little space there, so any water that comes down is guaranteed to fall inside that drain pan and be forced to drain down. And you saw when we were out at the site there, the sill was in, and we were actually peeking up through here, and we could see that space where that's sitting on the blocks. And that water that potentially comes down here and is being managed would turn the corner and basically fall in our rain screen space. Right? So all these systems are inextricably tied together, and so that we take any water that's coming down through this system and put it in our drainage pan and it goes down into our rain screen over our WRB. We drain it out. And then lastly, I wrote over it here, but remember we talked about that weep hole. There's that weep, and then here's the top of the sill. It's really important that we provide a space there. So any water that gets internally in the window has the ability to go out the weep holes that the window manufacturer provides in their unit and basically drain out on top of the sill. We want to make sure that there is a little space there so water can successfully be routed down and out there too. So, we can sit here all day. We can talk about complexities of this detail, but it's really simple. It's water management. Give it a place to go. It wants to go down and out. Create a place where it stops on the back. Create a drain pan, and then connect it to your WRB and put it inside your rain screen. All right, and you got a successful system. But you can see here everything from the window unit to the weeps to the drain pan, the slope sill, our rip sill, rain screen. They're all tied together as a system, right? You've heard me before talk about building science and building as a concert, right? I mean, here's your concert. You got your horn section, you got your drum section, your air section or flute section, however you name it. But the reality is we got a concert going on here. Everybody's working well together and providing their component of success, so organically it's successful as a whole. So anyways, there it is. Sill water management. Alrighty. Big Red can go to bed. Yeah, job here is done. So if you're looking for more, right here, Build Show Network. Check out the videos. I got a couple hundred videos. Science says watch them 7 times. You know me, I'm a man of the sciences. So go check it out. Watch them all 7 times. When you're finally done with mine, I got all those fellow colleagues out there just dropping videos weekly. So go check them out. A lot of great stuff happening out there. If you're still looking for more, you can find me on Instagram, Steve Basic Architect. You can find me out on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, we're dropping information all over the place to share with you, our fine fellow colleagues out there in the building world. So if you still want more Unbuild It podcast, I don't know if it gets any better than that. Peter Yost, Jake Bruin, and myself sitting around a table, cracking jokes. I've inserted a new joke every time we shoot a video at the end. It's some people are telling me it's almost worth watching just to catch the joke at the end. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they're saying. Anyways, yeah, Unbuild It podcast. We talk about everything. It's out on the audio channels, and we tape it on YouTube, so you can find us there. Anyways, there you have it. A little water management down at the windowsill. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Steve Basic Architect. Long live our buildings.